Hello, everyone, to another installment of our live cast in the Coaching Connection community. First thing first, you might have noticed we have renamed the community because our goal in the future is to really make this place a more collaborative space for coaches. And as you know, in the last 1 year, ever since this coaching group has been established, by the way, we just recently celebrated 1 year. We forgot to mention this to you guys because we ourselves have forgotten it. But basically, we celebrated 1 year, and this is where we are now, and this is the direction we're going to head even more toward. It's really creating this place as a collaborative space for coaches where coaches exchange information with each other about what they've tried, how they failed, how they succeeded. And today we're actually very happy to present another event with Joel with you. As some of you might remember and know, a few weeks ago we had Joel with us, and he was talking to us about Coachbox, and we actually decided to partner up with Coachbox. But Joel is a coach in his own right. And he has been telling us for the last couple of weeks about funnels, and I've been getting my hands dirty with funnels, establishing my own funnel. And it just so happened that we had this conversation around, our people are also asking about, their own funnels and how to establish, how to think through the logic behind a funnel. And that's what Joel came here to do for us. He said, I know stuff about it. Of course, let's ask him. Not only does he know about funnels, he actually has a whole business that helps coaches just make their life easier. And funnel is definitely a right way to go. If you're a coach at the stage where you know where your niche is, you're ready to go after your first client, then how to find ways to make your life easier. And you don't have to throw money at it, a lot of money. There are ways to make it cheaply, easily, or even for free. So Joel, the floor is yours. So I very much look forward to learning from you. And by the way, as you know, Ildiko is here with us, my partner in crime, and it's her birthday tomorrow. Yay. Just so you know.
Thanks for the shout out. Getting younger every day.
For sure, and more beautiful. So, okay, there you go, Joel. Tell us.
Thank you for having me back, and thank you for a nice presentation about who I am. For those of you who saw me a couple of weeks back, I'm the founder, one of the founders of a company called Coachbox, but I'm an author, speaker, and tech guy, you can call it, business coach, whatever you want to name it. And what I really enjoy doing is helping people. That's what I do. And I realized that I just help people. Everything else is going to fall into place if you just help people. And that is my life's message. One of the things we do is we help people with tech. Because as you might have noticed, when you try to set it up yourself, tech can be pretty overwhelming, and it never stops. The development never stops. So new things pop up all the time. And today I'm going to talk about one of the fun things that I think about technology, and that's how to create high-performing funnels. Let me know if you see the presentation. So I actually share the right screen. Sometimes you share the wrong screen, and people are so polite, so they sit and watch a spreadsheet about something else and don't tell you. Super brief. I'm the father of 7 kids. I'm an outdoor person as well. I think this is important to just tell you so you get the perspective where I'm coming from. This is one of the women in my life, my wife, and then I have 3 daughters as well. So this is about me, and let's skip ahead to the funnels. And let me know any questions you have. Feel free to ask them as we go through these components. Don't wait till the end. If you have a question, just raise your hand and ask. Write in the chat or whatever way works for Rina and Ildiko. It's perfect for me as well. So just let me know. What I'm going to talk about today is some basics. What is a funnel? What's the difference between a funnel and a website? What is a good funnel system? Because a funnel is a system. It's not just one thing. We're going to talk about the specific components inside of a funnel, what things you should have inside of the funnel. And if you think that sounds weird, awesome. Let's look at that in just a bit. And then why KISS rules funnel building. If you're not familiar with the term KISS, it is one of my favorite terms. Keep it simple, stupid. And I'm the stupid, so you don't have to be that one. I'm the stupid one, right? All right, guys. First off, what's a funnel? And the easiest way, you've heard this term, everyone talks about this nowadays. What a funnel is basically a way to get people from up here where they have no idea who you are. It's cold traffic. No one knows, no one has ever heard about anything you do, and then get them into the funnel here. And gradually, as they come down towards the funnel, towards the bottom here, they get warmer and warmer. And by the end here, they hit the mark and become one of your clients. That's the general idea of a funnel. And what a funnel has is a clear goal. We want people to do something specific in a funnel. And a funnel is just a collection of web pages. It's a collection of pages and then follow-up systems around it. You can look at this definition from multiple ways. Some people say it's just the websites. To me, I say it's the websites, it's the follow-up, it's the entire back-end business system of your business, basically. But the key with a funnel is it's an action-orientated website and a combination of website and follow-up designed to do one specific thing. We can have multiple funnels. That's a different story, but it's designed to have one specific thing in mind. So what is the difference? And I wanted to show you this. If you click here and open up this bad boy, this is the Coca-Cola website. What actions are you supposed to take here? What am I supposed to do here? I can read a bunch of things about Coca-Cola, right? Which is perfectly fine. They have a bunch of information. How many people do you think end up on a page like this, look at it for a bit, and then leave? How many people do you think do that? A lot of people. They might look around. They never leave any information. They never do anything to actually make sure that you can follow up with them. They just come here and watch. This is, in the old world, we used to have brochures where you met someone and they gave you a brochure and you looked at it, you put it on your desk at home like this, and then you looked at it for a bit and then you put it somewhere, and eventually it ended up in the recycling bin, and then it went out with the trash. That's a brochure. This is what it is. It's just a digital brochure. There's no actions to be taken here. So if I show you one of our funnels, this is the entirety. This is the entire page. I'm trying to scroll here. There's nothing more here at all. You can only do two things from this place. You can either click the little exit button, which you notice when people try to do that, they get a pop-up to catch attention, or they can click to actually get the guide here, action-orientated. That's the big difference between a website and a funnel. And sure, people can end up on this page as well and not do anything. And that is what most people do. Between a good funnel converts around 20 to 30% of the people who lands on it, they actually sign up to get the thing you're giving them. So the majority of people won't do anything here, which is perfectly fine. But the number is much, much higher on a regular website. So that's why I always say, when you're starting out, don't build a website. Don't spend the time building a website, build a funnel. You want someone to click on something and leave their information, name and email to you so you can follow up with them. Super important. That is one of the key takeaways from this entire presentation. Don't build a website the first thing you do. It is perfect to have a website as you start to grow your business. I learned this the hard way. I spent over 300 hours building our first website. We had it live for less than a week. Then we realized we can't use this. It's not going to work in the way we intended. So we spent 300 hours creating a website that no one ever saw, basically. So that is the big difference between a website and a funnel. And I think that's a big difference that we need to be aware of. Looking at a funnel, I showed this picture the last time, but because I think this is one of the best ways to set this up. And again, if you have any questions or if something is unclear, just go ahead and stop me and I'll dive into whatever the question is. This is a basic setup. We call this a Danny, basically for how to set up a funnel. And if you're just starting out, or if you're looking to create a new funnel for your business, this is the way I would set it up. Keeping it super simple. You have traffic coming towards a page. They end up on a opt-in page. From there, they either actually fill out the form and become a person you can follow up with. Then we take them to the next place, or they leave, which is fine. Then we show them a video and we have them get the opportunity to book a call with us, because as coaches, typically people won't buy our stuff without actually having a call, because it's so expensive. It's not a $3 thing that they're just going to wipe out their credit card and buy. We want to talk to them and want to describe exactly what it is and actually get a clear perspective on it. So this is by far, in my opinion, the best way to start to set it up. There are lots of more advanced ways, but when we're starting out, when we're creating a new funnel, this is the by far best way to do it. We're going to dive into the components here in a bit, but I just wanted to show you this overview so we kind of understand that this is 2 to 3 pages. That's all we need to have created to be able to set up the first funnel and actually have people come and have conversations about our business together. So if no one has any questions, I see there's a couple of things in the chat. So just let me double check and see if there's any questions in there. Cool. What I wanted to show you was, let's dive into the actual site here. And we're going to talk about some of the psychology behind a high converting funnel. We're going to talk a bit about the copy and a bit about how to set it up, not technically, because I'm not going to dive into Coachbox and build a funnel for you, because this is universal for whatever platform you're using. I want to keep it generic so you don't have to feel like you have to do this inside of Coachbox. It's perfectly easy to do this inside of Coachbox, obviously, but the thoughts behind this is to make it generic. So whatever platform you're using to do this, the same kind of principles apply. So let's take a look at this page here. We have 3 components to it, or 4 if you want to put it that way. You have a headline, you have an image, and you have a couple of bullet points and a button. And I hear some people asking me, why don't we put more information on this page? Why don't we put a lot of information about who I am, what we do, all the testimonials people given, all of these things? Why don't we put a bunch of more things on this page? And you can definitely do that if you want to. I've tested for several years different ways to create one of these opt-in pages, because what we're trying to do here is only trying to get someone's name and email. That's all we're looking to do here. And in exchange for that, give them, in this case, a guide. That's all we're looking to do. And we tested this actually down to the level where we actually had a page with just a button on it. And it said, yes, give me the thing. And then we ran ads to that page and people could click that button. And it worked. Nothing wrong with that. It worked. And we tested running pages, you know, these long forms, you see those sometimes, you can scroll forever on them and it just never ends. And there's questions and they show videos and they do all of these things. You can just get stuck on them forever. Those work as well. But this is kind of the sweet spot, in my opinion. So if you're looking to create a new funnel, this is what I would aim for. And if you want this exact template, and if you're using Coachbox, let me know and I'll set you up with all of that. But breaking this down into the components, if we start with the headline here, if you look at this headline, this is on purpose created in a way so that it will repel some people and it will attract others. When you put a warning here, some people are going to be like on edge saying, warning, what is this? And then you look at it. This guide may drastically increase the impact your coaching business has and lead to less stress and tech overwhelm. This is a clear information. In this sentence alone, people can understand what this is about, and they can make a decision if they want to leave or if they want to stay and actually get the guide. Just from this sentence alone, which is fine. But if people actually want to read more and want to kind of understand closer, we have these bullet points. And one of the things I strongly suggest creating on your page is bullet points. Because when you create a bullet point, you kind of have to narrow things down and be specific. And the thing you're giving away and the thing you're putting on this page, you know it from the inside and out. You know exactly what it is, you know exactly what it does, but the people who come to this place, they have no idea. So creating bullet points is one of the best ways to make sure people understand what you do. And also creating these bold parts that actually stand out what it is specifically about is going to help people understand what it is. And as I said, around 20 to 30% of everyone who lands on this page are going to click on the button and say, yes, give me this. That means that 70 to 80% will leave. Don't be discouraged by this. It is perfectly normal. It's perfectly fine. People will either do something or not do anything. And we keep track of all of this. So I know that people that end up on this page typically ends up on a different page later on because they saw something, they were interested. This wasn't for them, but they end up somewhere else later on. So that's a way of doing it. So super easy. Just create an image of whatever the thing you're giving away. Have a strong headline. And don't be afraid to be bold here. Use power words like fundamental. It's a power word, right? Drastically increase. That is a power word as well, or a power sentence. Use these strong words. And I actually have a list of a couple of hundred of these power words that if anyone wants them, just send me an email and I'll send that over to you, where you can actually find words that is good to use inside of a funnel or inside of emails or somewhere else, which is pretty nice to have. But don't be afraid to use them. We tend to be, at least we in the Nordics here, we tend to be so modest. Great question here. We have a question from Alan. Does video convert better than a picture? It depends. I tested both, as I said, and I think that a picture like this is a great way to start. If you have a video, sure, put it on here. The reality is there's nothing that is 100%, and it's never 100% certain that it's going to work this way or that way, because it always comes down to who sees it, what your business is about, what the niche, what the message is. Let's say we have Tony Robbins run an ad to a page. He would have a high conversion rate just by the merit of his name, right? So he could do almost anything to his page and it would work perfectly fine. We normal human beings, we need to kind of have a different approach to it. And you can have a video here. I typically say use an image, primarily because it's much easier to get it done and get it out there. And one thing we know with 100% certainty is if we don't have anything out there, no one is going to see it. So yeah, less is more, definitely. And the copy has to be good enough. Don't worry about this. The beauty with all of these things is as soon as we put things out there and as soon as we start driving traffic to it, we get all the information we need. Because if we put something online, we put a page like this online and no one actually clicks on it, no one does anything with it, people come here and everyone leaves, then we know we have to change something on this page. And what is incredibly important is testing. And I just saw testing strategies. What is incredibly important is to understand one fundamental thing. And I'm going to stop the screen share so you can actually see, or I can actually see you better. One thing that is incredibly important is to understand and really listen to what I'm going to say now, because this is one of the things that people often get hung up on and is a problem. If a page doesn't work, or if you're running traffic to an event and it doesn't convert the way you want it to, it's not about you. Like seriously, it's not about you. What we can learn from an event or a page you run traffic to that doesn't convert is one thing. That page did not convert. That's the only thing we can learn. And just by changing a few small things can make the whole difference. And just to point this out, there was a book that came out, I can't remember the name of it, but it came out like in the 70s and it was called something like Astrolingual Love, and no one knew what it was, like a weird name to it. And a publicist actually found this book on a yard sale somewhere and he picked it up and he said, that's a weird name. So he bought it home with him and he read it. And he said, this is a really good book, but it's a horrible name and the title and the book itself looks bad. So let's change this. So he contacted the author and they changed the name to it to something like the extent of how to have the best sex of your life and have your partner begging for more. You think that sold anything more than Astrolingual Love? Anyone? It became a bestseller. I need to look the title up, but it became a bestseller literally overnight. And they changed the name and they changed the cover. The author was the same. The text was the same. They didn't do anything to that. They just changed the look of it. So when you think, hey, I put this online, no one is clicking on it. It doesn't work. It's me. My friend, it's not you. We just have to change small details to actually make it work. And it's super important. I get goosebumps talking about this because this is something people run into every day. And it's horrible when we think it's us and it's not, it's a page. Don't make it bigger than it is. Let's jump back here. We talked about testing strategies. That was the question the last time I saw that. And that's really where I'm going with this. We have to test it. As soon as we put it live, put it up, start driving traffic to it and see what happens. See if it converts, see if people click on it. If they don't click on it, change something. Test running a video with it, changing the headline, changing the text, do something else, and continue driving traffic to it and see when it works. Then we look at the next step. Because if the first page converts, and people come to the next step and no one watches the video that I'm going to show you on the next page, then we know that something needs to change there. So always think about making one piece at a time work. Don't think about the whole picture just yet. Just make the first thing work, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next. So that's the way we test it. We have to drive traffic to it. If we do that with paid ads, or if we just talk about our business and people find us, perfectly fine. But we have to test it by running traffic to it. See another question there as well. Pros and cons using opt-in rather than a free versus small cost offer. And that's also a great question. I'm just going to take a sip of water here. There are a few ways we can do this. And I was actually going to talk about a way that if you want to be slightly more advanced, you can start running what we call a loss leader funnel, which is basically a page like this where you have a free opt-in first. And from this page, you offer them something really cheap, like a $4 or $19 thing that is really cheap, that no one really hesitates bringing their old trusted credit card out and actually buying, and then taking people through it. What the main difference is that if you have a paid option or a paid version of a page, you typically get higher quality leads, because then people actually paid to get whatever the thing is. But obviously then you get fewer leads. So that I would say is the main big difference between a paid or a free thing. And from my point of view, I typically talk to coaches that either are just starting out or are kind of new within the first year or so. So I typically say start by running a free thing, so you get a list to actually talk to and actually get feedback from. And then we can add a loss leader to it later on. But it's definitely something that I think is worth doing. And if we have a product that we think works really well with it, I would definitely put it as an upgrade on it. We can also run it as the first thing that they have to buy it to get it. But I typically want to make sure that I get the name and email from as many people as I can, so I can follow up before I ask for a credit card number. Hope that answered the question. So this page we're looking at right now, we talked a bit about the headline and some creatives and some outlines, and just look at it for a second. It's super simple. It doesn't have to be advanced. This brings in lots and lots of leads every week to us. Easy as this, doesn't have to be more advanced. So this is the opt-in page. The only goal is to get someone's name and email. That's all we're looking for at this stage. So what happens when they click on this button and they actually leave the information here? What actually happens? Well, we take them to the next page, which is what we call the bonus training. And hopefully you see this as well. I don't know if Stripe or Zoom actually just transitions between the tabs, but I think it does. So when they click on the page to get the thing we're giving them, we're putting them on this page. And you can see not a lot has changed here. We're congratulating people for picking up the guide. Encouragement is often a good thing to keep people interested. And I genuinely think it's a good choice that they picked up our guide, because I know that helps people, right? So we send them here and have some more information. But what we add, the most important thing here, is we add a video. This is a bonus training. And this video is maybe your only chance to interact with the person who just picked up whatever you're giving them. So this is a great time. And I'm going to jump back to the presentation here. We're on this page now. We're on the second page, and it says VSL. That stands for virtual sales letter or video sales letter. The reality is we're selling them on something here, but what we're selling people on is the idea that we can help them. The idea that what we bring to the table is so good that they actually want to book a call with us. That's what we're selling them on. We're not asking them for money. We're asking them for their time. So on this page, we put a video where they have the ability to get a bonus training. And typically what I recommend doing on this page is walking people through what they just picked up. So in this example, they just picked up one of our guides, our 5-step guide. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk them through the 5 steps. And in this video, and this is different from people to people and depending on your business model. From my point of view, I want to show people I can help by actually helping. So what this video is doing is actually helping them move forward. I'm actually going through and giving them a genuine training with information about what it is and how this can help them forward. But I'm also very clear on that just because they downloaded a free guide off the internet, that is just the first step. They're not going to have a successful business or a successful tech platform set up and done for them just by picking up this free guide. They need to have more things done. So what I'm doing is I'm explaining that this is the first step. I'm explaining that if you want to go from point A where you are to point B, there's a huge gap that you have to fill. You have to do something more than just getting the guide right. You have to actually start doing things. So I'm doing a training, a genuine training, not designed to have them buy something, but to get them to understand that what they just got from us together with this video is genuinely helpful. And that plants the seed that, that guy Joel, he could probably help me. So what we have a call to action. I just clicked the wrong button, I realized. So I just stopped sharing my screen. Sorry about that. I think we're back now. What we have as a call to action is go book a call. So now people can book a call with us right on this page. And again, most people won't. So that's why we added at the bottom here, join the community. Come join us on Facebook in this case, where you can join the community and actually get more value. We do weekly trainings, we do all of these things. So come join us. So here they have the ability to book with us. And if they don't feel like they're ready for that, at least have them go join our community. So that's 2 call to actions that they can take on this page. On top of this, what is happening in the back end that we don't see here is they already got an email with the guide. We send the guide automatically to them as part of the funnel here. When they click the button on this page to get the actual guide, we automate the email to go out and send them the actual guide. So when they watch this training, and I typically say you have to tell them in the beginning, watch this training. We have to be clear. You have to kind of treat people like I treat my kids. And I'm not saying this from a bad point of view. I'm saying this jokingly, but you kind of have to treat it like a 5-year-old with the attention span, because I know when I'm browsing the internet, you bet it's going to pop up a squirrel somewhere and I'm going to go watch that. And what is this? And hey, there's YouTube. Look at this. And hey, someone messaged me on Facebook. So you kind of have to grab people and make sure they watch it. And how long do we think this should be then? Well, I typically say between 5 and 15 minutes is probably a good version of it. And you don't have to be on camera. In this case, I'm not on camera. I'm walking them through a specific thing, right? So you don't have to be on camera, but you can be on camera. I typically do both. And depending on what you're working on and what you're trying to do. I am super comfortable being on camera, so I don't have an issue with it. But I have clients that think it's tough. They want to kind of not be on cameras. And I said, don't be, just walk people through a presentation and help them. Just so another question there, any simple scripts for sales videos? Yes, I have a couple of them. I don't think I have them live anywhere. So just reach out and I can help you get a copy of those. You have to, of course, tweak them, but at least it's an outline, it's a template for it. What I'm going to say as the general idea here is whatever you do, whatever you're a specialist on, talk about that. Talk about that, how that helps people. Don't overthink this. The times where I struggle to create a video is typically when I use a script. This is different, obviously, for everyone, but that's when I typically struggle to create a good video, is when I'm trying to read off a script. The general idea here is welcome them, tell them to watch, explain how the thing helps, and that is only the first step. Explain the gap from where they are and how this thing you just gave them can help them get started on the journey. Explain the outcome where they would like to be and how you help people transition that path and how you can help them too. Typically, that is a good way to do it. So if you need help in getting some kind of scripts together, reach out and we'll talk about it and we'll help you set something up for that case. Let's jump back here and see where we are. Yeah, so basically to summarize this, and I'm looking forward to getting a bunch of questions later on and having a bit of a discussion about this, because if we summarize this, a funnel is especially designed to have someone do one of the two things: either leave or actually come and do something we want them to do. The dandy, as we talked about, the funnel I just showed, this bad boy with an opt-in, a virtual sales letter, and a calendar to have someone go book, is a great starting place for new coaches, or when you're looking to actually create a new funnel or set up a new offer. This is, in my opinion, one of the absolutely best ways of doing it. And remember these bad boys. These are the emails, obviously, because when they opt in to get the thing, we need to automate sending emails. And when people opt in here, we talked about the majority don't do what we want them to do, right? So we have to remind them to go watch the video. And there are ways where we can track and keep track of how far into a video someone watched. We can be super advanced, but for now, let's just remind them to go watch the video. And once they watch the video, or once they ended up on this page, and we can track this, we send them emails to remind them to go actually book that call. And once they book that call, guess what? We're going to send them emails and text messages, or whatever way we want to do this, to remind them to come and show up on the call so we can talk to them and see if we can help. Some people we're going to be able to help, and some people are open and ready to be helped. Others are not ready right now. So we follow up with them, we talk to them, we share information over time with the goal to help them. I really think that you should adopt the idea that you're doing this to help. You're not doing this to sell. You sell as an outcome of helping. I don't know the last time I watched a really good sales trainer that said you have to force and push people into buying stuff. Because I don't watch those sales trainers. You can definitely do that. I mean, there's a whole industry based on bullying people into buying stuff. If that's you, that's perfectly fine. I'm not gonna judge you on that, but it's not me. So my entire perspective on everything I do is to help. And that's why when I do trainings, I talk about helping. That's generally the way I think we should do it. So creating the dandy is a great way to set up the next funnel. Bullet points is a great resource. Use bullet points, my friends. Always do. Super easy. People can in just at a glance understand what this is and how they can benefit from it. Bullet points are super positive and super powerful. And then finally, clone the funnels. Once you created a good funnel, once you're happy with that, I can tell you we have multiple funnels set up this exact way, looking almost identical to this one, only small differences. So once you're happy with it, once you've set up a funnel you're happy with, clone it and create the next one. Because a funnel, my friend, is not just one thing. It's going to be a system of different funnels, of different perspectives, of different offers, of different things, a whole ecosystem where people can come in, and depending on where they come in, we take them through a journey based on what they like, what they click on, what they interact on. We take them on a different journey. So from my point of view, getting the outline done, getting the first funnel done, that's the hardest part. Once that is done, we can just clone and copy, redo, and it's done. It's going to take not a lot of time to do. So that's a great resource to use as well. All right. That is the foundational pieces of when I talk about funnels that I think is super important. And now I want to hear any questions, any comments, any thoughts that you might have on funnels, anything you think I missed that you want to hear more about. Just just let me know.
Joel, this is Arnie. I have a question.
Yeah. Hey, Arnie.
I would like the talk a little more about the relationship between the item you're giving away and the video. I heard you say it's similar. It seems like if you have them on the page, they don't want to spend a lot of time there.
Yeah.
But it almost seemed like if when they get back to their email, there's like a summary with a little more detail of what you talked about. So it's like it's a 1-2 punch is what I mean, is you don't go off and talk about horses if you were talking about stars in the video, right? You kind of, it's like a teaching moment.
Yep.
But have you tested whether more detail with summary in the free document, or summary and even refer to that you're going to send them some more information?
That's a great question as well, and I like the amount of questions in the question here, because what we're talking about from my point of view is something I refer to as a super system, where we actually build out the entire back end of it. And yes, I've tested several different versions of this, and what I find is that most people, and this is not a universal truth, but most people don't open emails to the extent we think, because when you track emails, you realize the open rates are pretty low. So most people don't open emails. So you have to kind of email them several times and remind them to go look at whatever you're sharing or whatever the things you are. So what I do, and I think works pretty well, is the first email I send out when they click is typically a longer one, summarizing what this thing is about, giving some more information, and also starting to build relationship together with them. Meaning I tend to write more personal, not necessarily private, but personal things in the email, so that the people who actually read it start building a connection, because we're just people, right? It's what it is. And then I refer them to go watch the video. And I do that for, now I track this. So I see as soon as someone go watch a video, I'm not going to send them an email to go watch the video again, right? But I send them a couple of emails, and they get kind of shorter and shorter, so to speak. They have the same ending to them, but the beginning is kind of shorter and shorter, because what I want people to do in this case is to go watch that video. And again, most people won't. So that means I'm going to have to take them to something else, right? So what we take them to in the next step is another training that is based on a different topic, because just because we're going to pick up this guide doesn't mean necessarily they wanted to look at this guide. But once we kind of know that they are in our space, we know that the people who click our links are coaches typically, and they have questions about business building and tech, then we know that we can present different things to them in that general topic. And then you can send that email and have them go to watch another video on a different page. And all of these videos, everything is, as I said, it's designed to help someone with a specific problem. Most people won't watch it, and that's what it is. But the people who do, if we try to help them. So I'm thinking if that actually answered the question. I don't know if it answered the question, Zorni.
Well, it was a little earlier when you said right at the beginning of the funnel. You sign up and you're automatically sending them an email, but you're on the next page, you're giving that short little video. And I'm trying to understand the relationship between the email that's on the way while they're listening to you, and kind of like, how do you, because it seems like if you play with it, you could get these to work well together.
Definitely.
Meaning if you listen to me talk right now, you don't have to take any notes, because I'm going to send them all to you in just a minute.
Exactly. Thank you for clarifying. So I actually understand what the question was. And exactly that. I typically set this up so the email waits between 5 and 10 minutes before we actually send the email, because otherwise what is going to happen is someone clicks on the link to get the thing, they hear their phone going off, or they hear the email, and guess what? They're not going to watch the video. and the video is maybe my only chance to show my ugly muck to someone and actually say something that I think makes sense. So that could be my only chance to actually get that time. So that's why I typically wait. And you can use this. You can say, you can start the video by saying, hey, the guide is on its way. Don't worry about that. You're going to have it in a bit. But first, look at this and listen to what I have to tell you, because this is incredibly important, because this is how you do underwater basket weaving in a better way, or whatever it is, right?
All right.
So I typically delay that a little bit. And then to me, in the first email sequencing, I typically have a little longer email than strictly necessary, talking a bit more about the struggles and a little bit about my background. And I follow it up with several emails over several days to make sure people actually, or we try to make people do what we want, at least. And I just want to mention one thing, because sometimes when I say we want to have people do what we want, some people feel like that is harsh word, but maybe like deception or trying to fool. It's not at all what it is. someone told me a couple of weeks back, and I think this was a great thing to say, but he said, if Mother Teresa didn't have good marketing, she would not become a saint. And I think that is super true, actually, because if no one knows who she were or what she did, if she was sitting in a cabin somewhere, no one knew about her, how could anyone say that she did good things? Obviously, people who saw that firsthand, but how do you become a global phenomenon? Well, you get yourself out there in front of people. And what we're trying to make people do is not to sell their soul to the devil. We're trying to get them go watch or read something we know, because this is what we do, our specialty, that we know will help them, right? So to me, marketing is a way to help people move forward without them necessarily knowing that whatever the thing they're getting is exactly what they need, right?
Okay. Yeah, that helped, because that was it seems like if you figure the combination out, and you'd have to test it, but it seems like that 1, 2, tell them the same thing, a little different way. So hopefully after they watched your video, got to know you and listened and read a little bit about, there's going to be some more nuggets in there.
Yeah.
In that 2 steps, they should have a pretty good idea if they should continue or move on to the next squirrel that's going by on their screen.
Yeah. And the beauty is, if I jump here again, and I'll share my screen in just a second, but if I jump back here again to this picture that I showed you previously, this one, when we look at this, I could, if I had that created now, I could zoom out from this picture, and you would see that this is just one line, so to speak, or one funnel, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to want to have multiple ones. And when you tie all of these together, that's really when the power happens, because when you can have multiple ways in, people don't have to opt in more than once, obviously. But when you can say, hey, I just did this training, go watch this thing that is on whatever it is, and you can have people go through this process over several months, that's when the magic happens. I recommend having between 2 and 3 months of follow-up in place for your business. So you're not going to have that obviously in a week, but build that out over the first year or so as you scale to have that. So you can actually make sure people come in, then automate a flow that they can go through based on what they click on and based on what they interact with, so that everything they see is kind of what they're interested in. And it's also always helping them move forward. That way you can see maybe 30 to 60 days from someone coming in and clicking on something. Typically, that's when they become a client. And that's typically our flow, meaning we don't have to stress it, because we know that in 30 to 60 days, most people won't, but some people will become a client, and we can start working together and making our money as well, so we can pay the bills, obviously, right? So having that perspective on it and having a system that people automatically get nurtured through, I think that is, in my point of view, the best way of having it set up in the long run.
I have a follow-up question to something you said there. You were talking about how, most people don't watch the video, and, the email sequence encourages them to watch the video. And I think you said something about like, and maybe not, say they watch the video at the first go round on page 2, or they watch it after they get the first email. Are you then altering the email sequence that they get so that they stop getting the ones that tell them to watch that video?
Great question. And yes, when people opt in here, I'll send them typically a bunch of emails to encourage them to go watch the video. And as soon, and I mean, we can track this in different ways, but what I say in the beginning, keep track of if they click the link here to go watch the video. Don't make it more advanced than that, because we can track how far they watch, but let's not go down that rabbit hole right just now. But if they click to go to the page and watch the video, I'm not going to send them more emails to have them go watch the video, because I'm going to assume that they watched the video. So what I do then is I send different emails and having them, encouraging them now, in this case, to go book a call. But I could encourage them to go do anything else, right, that I want them to do. But as soon as they click here to go where I tell them to go watch the video, I'm not going to send that anymore. And that means I can have maybe 6 emails here just lined up and ready to go, where I say, go watch this video in different ways. But as soon as, if you click on the first one, you're not going to get the rest of them. So as soon as they actually click on an email, then I assume they watched it, right? And we can do this in lots of different ways, but the key here, I think, is that it's behaviorally in the behavioral indications or indication of their behavior that decides where they should go next. I think that is super important, just so we don't spam people. I hate
Right.
when you get spammed, right? So that I think is an important part of it.
Joel, I'm assuming that the CRM systems and the email management systems allow you, or should at least allow you, to automate this process. So you don't actually have to go in and check every single person you sent an email to, whether they clicked here or they clicked there. So, for example, Coachbox allows you to set up the workflows to automate those.
Yeah. And you can have conditional logic, and you can have all of those things. So you can set it up so that it keeps track of literally everything. And based on what people did or did not do, you take them down different routes and you show them different things and take them on that journey. Because I think it's almost like a choose your own adventure, so to speak. Even though you just came in, you can kind of choose where you want to go and have people go through it. So definitely, and most softwares gives you that option, and Coachbox definitely does.
Great, thanks, Doreen. Sorry, I know you had a question earlier. Do you want to come off mute?
Sure. I just wanted to come back to what Arnie was talking about, and then what Joel was describing. And I'm just, from my sort of understanding and experience, when you initially want to, and I think this is what the opt-in page does versus the video, but you can correct me if that's different. When you don't know a person, you're trying to get clarity on what they want, because they're out there looking for it. And then that's the opt-in page. Yeah. And then the video gives them a clearer indication that you understand what they want. And then you're actually giving them hints that you know what they need, which is a little bit different maybe. Yeah. So that building that extra piece in is the rich part of getting, building the trust, offering clarity. And it sounds like that's what you're doing with your emails as well. That. So I just wanted to, it's a fine distinction between a person knowing what they want and getting to where they might be interested to get something. And then all of a sudden they're seeing, yeah, but really I need that.
Yeah. And exactly that. And thank you for pointing that out. I think that was a great way to describe it. And what we're trying to do, if we go back to this picture, is the people who have no idea who you are. They never heard of you. They didn't even think about this problem that you're solving this morning. They might not have think about the solution to it. All of a sudden they see something and they say, that sounds interesting. And they start going down the rabbit hole, and you help them understand. One of my mentors, he calls this chocolate and broccoli. You have to lead with the chocolate. They need broccoli. They're not going to come and eat broccoli. You need to lead with the chocolate and tell them exactly, this is the thing you need to get right now. And as soon as they start to eat the chocolate, you introduce the broccoli and say, this is what's also going to make you strong and fast and all of these things. Because we have to be aware of it. And it's so easy to forget that we as specialists, we know exactly how it works. We're super clear on how it is. But normal people have no idea. Like, they don't know how to do that thing. I have no idea how to do whatever thing. I couldn't come up with a good example. I had no idea. So you have to put something in front of me that sparks an interest, and I say, that's interesting. And I look at it, and we kind of have to deal with this attention span all the time. And as you say, put it out there, see how it works, see how people react to it, and then tweak it as we go, and make sure people understand as you build a relationship that not only are you a good human being, but you actually understand, and they can relate to you, and they understand that you understand them. And that's how you build that relationship. I like Jill here. I want all the broccoli. Yep. I like broccoli too, but I do like chocolate as well. I'm just going through the questions here.
There was a question from Ellen, about planning tools and strategies that you could share.
Yeah. So I actually have one of the best planning tools in the world. I actually have right in front of me. And I think it's something everyone should have. And I know it's something that you have. The old trusted notebook where we can actually write and create. The reality is that as you start building a big system out, chances are you will get lost and you will not remember, how did I set up this automation? Where does this go and how does that come together? And when you're on that place, I typically recommend setting up a spreadsheet and name everything in a way so that you know exactly what it is and create it in the spreadsheet so you know how it ties together. But when we start out in the beginning, having a regular book and this old guy and drawing it out visually on a piece of paper before we do anything in any software anywhere, I think it's one of the most, look at that, Rena. I think it's one of the most underrated, yet one of the most powerful ways to plan anything. We try to be so technological today. Everything should be in the computer. Most of my life and my business is in this guy or some other of the books I have. So that's what I use. And then inside of Coachbox, we have, when you build the workflows in Coachbox, those are visual. So you see what happens where, and you can see how it ties together. That helps a lot as well for me because I want to see and I want to understand where things go. Other people want to just read and understand, but I want to see as well. So those are probably the best tricks that I have for that. And using the book, I think, is one of the most powerful ones.
May I just share an idea? Because in my corporate life, I have implemented and designed quite a few systems for HR and people management stuff. Yeah. And one of the things we did, and it was really good fun as well as really visual, so really helped, is stickers just on the walls. Put down the things you want to do, and then you can move them around easier than on a piece of paper, because then you might need to scrub it off and whatever. But if you just play around with stickers, it's a lot more fun. It gives you some energy by standing around and everything, and it helps your brain work faster too. So that has been quite useful for us in the past.
There is another great tool that comes to mind when you talk about Post-its and notes, that is called Miro, M-I-R-O, which is a free tool. You can pay for it, obviously, if you want to, but they have a free version as well, where you can create mind maps and where you can add the Post-its and you can drag it out and you can create it. And that is also a great way to set it up. What it comes down to, and I think that other people are more suited than me to talk about this, but it comes down to how your brain works and how you want to operate, how you best do things. And this is going to be different to everyone. So finding what works best, I think, for you is the most important thing. I am a visual guy, so I tend to use my books and I tend to use the workflows inside of Coachbox to build it out, to understand where it is. And I name everything like stupid names, so I know exactly what it is. I don't make it fancy. I use the KISS mentality again and focus on keeping it super simple so I don't get lost in the weeds. Perfect, Rena. That is the link I was looking for. Did I miss any questions here? Arnie, thanks for joining us. Were there any questions? Anyone who has a question that I didn't answer, let me know so I don't leave you hanging with a question here. I have two things that I think I just want to mention as well. I talked about keeping things stupid was not the right thing to say, but keeping things simple. I think that goes for everything. One of the things that has to happen in your life and your business, no matter what you think about, it's better to get it done than to try to get it perfect. It's never going to be perfect. That's just the reality of it, but get something done. I know from my life that when we had absolutely no money, we couldn't pay the bills, we couldn't do anything. That was a result of me trying to make things perfect. And as soon as you start actually doing things, no matter what the thing is, it's going to be better. And creating your next funnel should be high up on your list of actually getting things done, because that's a way people can see you and find you. Even if you're not planning to run ads, just putting a link on your Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever software or whatever platform you use to talk to others is going to help you. And it's better to get something out than not having anything out. Question about once they're on your list, any thoughts on nurturing sequences? There are several different schools of thought here. And I'm a big fan of trying to do multiple follow-ups, so to speak. I have one big that I tend to do, which is around 30 emails, and those go out less frequent, which are more about helping maybe twice, 3 times per week, something to that extent, which is more about different topics. And the topics are typically tied to an article on our blog or tied to a video somewhere that is a training. And that is one part of the more long-term nurturing strategy. But what I try to do most is to have like solid calls to action. So if they signed up for one thing and they didn't go watch the video and they didn't do anything, then typically I have them nurtured to a new sequence where I want them to go watch a video because I think video is incredibly powerful. And I read somewhere that over 80% of the content online is video based. So using video, I think, is incredibly important. Just driving people to watch a video or doing a presentation or doing something to that extent, I think that is really, really powerful in order to have them do something. So nurturing people in multiple stages, long term, which is more general. Here's a thing we wrote. Here's a story from my life. This is where I am. This is how I ended up in this place. This is what happened. More of that type of building relationship, I think, is good. And then also adding the things that is more practical. Here's the thing, go watch this, it's going to help you. I think those two strategies together works pretty well. And another thing as well, I think what I seriously think you should not do not just send out a weekly newsletter. If that is all you're doing, you're not going to get much traction from that, because most people don't open the emails you send. Just look at your inbox. And if you go through your inbox, looking at the last week, I bet you some of the emails there are from people you like, trust, and want to know more about, but you haven't opened them. Not because you didn't like them, but because you have 4,694 other emails that also ended up in your inbox. So if you're sending a weekly newsletter, that's 52 emails per year. And if 10% of everyone opens their email, that means that someone saw 5 emails in a year from you. And then someone else is going to do something to help them faster. So don't be afraid to send emails to people. People who don't like getting emails can click the unsubscribe button, or they can click get off this list. So really focus on helping and doing that. I unsubscribe heavily to people that say, here's another thing, go buy this. And here's the new thing, go buy this. People who just send me buy emails, not that interested. But people who actually share stuff that is valuable, I enjoy that. I don't read all of them, but don't just send a weekly newsletter. Send more emails and help.
Thank you so much for sharing, Joel. This was such an interesting session. I was taking notes and definitely lots of good ideas. I'm at such a stage where I just set up the landing pages, and definitely the thinking process behind the emails and the email sequences and what to do, what not to do. And I think this is definitely something that's very helpful. If you still have questions, I see, is there another question? Doreen, yes?
Yeah, just a quick question. Joel, I saw that you were on a podcast with the Queens or something like that in September. I'm going to go listen, but I had a question. You said, I think you were an author. Do you have a book?
Yeah, we have. I have my next book is coming out. COVID hit, and all of a sudden everything just stopped working like it used to. So we actually have our next book. It's called Chasing the Horizon, and it was supposed to be out already, but something happened with this tiny little pandemic that hit all over the world. So it's hopefully coming out this summer. It's the next one coming out. I've written a bunch of things together with people over the years, but my next solo book is coming out in probably to the summer here.
Great, thank you. We'll watch for it.
Definitely.
Excellent. So thank you so much again, Joel, for being here with us. And those of you who've been watching on Facebook, do feel free to reach out to Joel. I'm sure we're going to see more of him in our community as we continue partnering up. And I'm very excited about my funnel. So I think I have all the information to kind of like get me started. Yeah. And I'm so glad we have this Coachbox tool at our disposal that actually can facilitate this whole process. Anyways, as some of you might know, we're still running this promotion should you sign up for Coachbox with our link. then you will get 30 days free. Do that, check out the system, see what it can do for you, and see, feel free to reach out to Joel to see, yay.
I actually created
Thank you.
an easier link for you guys, but now you changed the group name, and I don't know the new name, so we might need
Oh,
to
it's still
update
the
that.
same. It's still the same. Coaching Connection, collaborative community. That's who we are now.
Yeah.
And so thank you so much for being here. Those of you who've been watching on Facebook, bye. I didn't see any questions there. If I missed any question, we will definitely go through them and reach out to Joel and see if we can actually add an answer. And otherwise, this is it. And I'm just going to stop recording. Okay, stop live.
Have a great day.
And those of you who are with us here on Zoom, I hope you found this helpful, useful. I'm going to stop recording here too. If you